I've been doing YouTube now for about 3 years, and oftentimes in life, I find it helpful to look back over the course of your life and see, are the things I'm doing valuable to you? And in the case of YouTube, it's a harder question to answer because I think there's a lot of different perspectives that you can view a journey like this. And I think the first and maybe the one you care about the most is, financially speaking, has it been worth it for me to make a YouTube channel over the course of 3 years? And at this point, my YouTube channel has about 1.5 million views, kind of at least a third of that coming from shorts, which have absolutely garbage ad revenue, and then about maybe 600,000, maybe half from shorts, half from full-time videos, where full-time videos do get quite a bit more ad revenue, which is why I've been focusing on that far more in the last couple months. And I had one sponsorship in there, and so for over the last 3 years, I have made like $1.5 thousand off of YouTube, which that's not nothing from one regard. If I had not been wanting to do this full time, that would be enough money to maybe pay for my gaming hobby over the past 3 years, or maybe expand it and have bought a lot more games over that time. Or it could simply have just been like maybe 1 month's worth of rent, which would be a cool side hustle and hobby. Now, I don't think that it is financially worth it from a full-time perspective, at the scale I'm doing it at, right? I think if you want to make YouTube much more of a full-time effort, you have to be 100,000 views of video, pulling in sponsorships on a more regular basis, where right now I'm just trying to sponsor myself through my games in the hopes that I'll get some wish list, which brings me to my second thought on the financial side is, has it been worth it from selling more games? Because I think a lot of game developers, myself included, will sometimes get into content creation from a lens of trying to lower the floor of success and guarantee some amount of sales. Excuse me. I think I just died there. Some amount of sales, and part of that is by getting more wish lists on Steam. And I have seen some correlation between YouTube videos that get a couple thousand views and then a small uptick in wish lists, but I think it's very hard to say, financially speaking, how much money I have made from converting YouTube views into Steam wish lists into Steam game sales. I would say some, couple $100, couple $1,000, because my first game, Chess Survivors, has sold about 7,000 copies, some of which are likely you. And if you've been one of those people who've done that, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That money goes directly into funding this hobby, not this hobby, but this journey I'm on as a full-time solo developer. And the more you purchase of my games, the more likely I am to keep not sponsoring this channel and doing stuff like that. So I would say, from a financial perspective, YouTube is absolutely not worth it. Unequivocally, a bad at my level, it is not a worthwhile endeavor to do this to make money. But the second perspective gets a little bit more interesting. And the second perspective is from the creative process. As I'm making YouTube videos and putting them out there, I'm learning about how to tell a story. I'm learning about how to grab somebody's attention through graphical assets like a thumbnail, or how to evoke a specific emotion, either maybe having good comedic timing or by sharing some sort of a sentimental lesson learned. I'm learning about how do I present my ideas to you in a way that you can connect with. And that's a really fun and enjoyable hobby. And circling back to the game development portion of all of that, it is a lesson that's worthwhile to learn, because in a game sense, you're going to be having a store page that has to grab the attention. And then in the actual gameplay of the game, you're going to be trying to evoke experiences and emotions from your players. So having a bunch of attempts at that through YouTube channels, YouTube videos, which can take upwards of hundreds or thousands of hours. I've never made videos like that, but I know it can take a long time. Or it can be like me, where I'm trying to be as lean and efficient as possible by doing a one-take video like the one you're watching right now, and spending at most an hour or two getting it recorded, lightly edited, and then pushed up onto YouTube and published there. It gives me a lot of cracks at trying out those skills and learning those skills, not to mention I'm becoming far more comfortable with failing. There's been a lot of YouTube videos I've made over the last 3 years that I've been really proud of, only for myself to expect, oh, this is going to be my big break. This is going to be the one that gets me 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 views. And it to be one of my worst performing videos. I think that is something of a skill. The skill at failing, of identifying why something didn't work, or at least brainstorming why something didn't work, that can be really, really valuable in game development. Oftentimes, your idea will suck, the prototype will suck, a feature within the game will suck and need to be reworked or removed entirely. And if you can become comfortable with kind of those, I would phrase it as, like, societally speaking, we deem a lot of those emotions to be much more negative. If you can become comfortable with some of those emotions, just maybe you'll be able to take those negative experiences by a game not selling as well as you want, or by a player ripping apart a feature in a game that you loved, only to find out that from a player's perspective, it didn't match your goals and emotions, and trying to find the valuable lesson to be learned in there. So from a creative perspective, it's been quite worthwhile for me to learn the lessons of storytelling and graphical assets, and how to grab someone's attention and tell compelling stories and communicate those things. But it's also been very helpful from maybe the original reason I created this YouTube channel 3 years ago, which was to create some sort of a positive feedback loop in my game development journey. Up until that point, I had been really kind of casually using game development as a side hobby, oftentimes coming up with prototypes, spending a couple weeks, stop me if this is you, spending a couple weeks hot and furiously working on the game, only to have another game idea, drop my previous prototype, and move on to the next one. And so I think I originally started this channel to create some sort of a positive feedback loop, with the notion that at the time, a lot of my prototypes nobody knew about. Nobody in my life knew about it, or cared about it necessarily. I think personally I didn't tell anybody about it because I was very self-conscious about it. So I wanted to create a YouTube channel so that somebody out there would know about it. Not from a sense of like there'd be thousands of players, holding a bated breath, counting down the days till my game got released, but just the notion that I could see views on a video and that other people out there would know about the game existing, kind of giving it some more legs. And over the years, I think that notion of like having people know about it has helped give my projects some more weight, but that doesn't mean you can't still shelve a project for a new idea. That emotion has still been a real emotion I felt. But what it has done for me, I think objectively speaking, is created a much more positive feedback loop. Because at this point, I have made a commercial game. It's Chess Survivors. It's sold about 7,000 copies to this point, and it is available right now on Steam. I'm currently working on Hexagod, which I believe has so much steam and momentum behind it that it's absolutely going to get released on Steam. I understand I just did a pun there for this steam and momentum behind it that was unintentional, but nonetheless a nice pun, and we should respect puns when they appear in our lives because they're quite nice. But I lost my train of thought, and that sucks. From the creative perspective, having created YouTube channels to create a positive feedback loop, I think has been successful. I don't think it's necessarily something that is going to yield you a huge player base and a huge amount of pressure behind it. And in fact, that pressure might actually squash creativity depending on who you are. It certainly has sometimes for me. But from a creative perspective, YouTube, creating a YouTube channel has absolutely been 100% worth it. And it's something I would do. I think even if I wasn't making games, I would still try to share my life experiences as a human on this little rock flying through space, which brings me to the third perspective, and that is the perspective of YouTube from my personal perspective. And this one's a bit more raw, I suppose. And I sat down today at a coffee shop, And I tried to ask myself that question. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I making YouTube? And I tried to be as honest as possible, not with judgment about maybe vanity goals and stuff like that, or this notion of trying to make money from it or wish list, because as we just talked about, I don't think those are really actually frivolous, like worthwhile endeavors to try to make money from YouTube or try to gain certain wish lists from YouTube, or even like the creative process of trying to improve your game. I really don't get the type of kind of iterative feedback that I want from the comment section. Although I do read all of your comments, I can't get that. And so from a personal perspective, why do I do it? And quite frankly, I think the most honest answer is that I know I have a good perspective on life. I know that I can have a positive impact on my own life through my perspective and thought process of life. And that has seeped out into my friends and family and my long-term partner, who she and I have been dating for about 8 years at this point. I've seen myself have positive impacts on their lives, and I've seen them have positive impacts on my life through the connection with other humans, and not talking about the weather or sports, but talking about the ooey gooey parts of life that we don't typically want to talk about. You can find immense amount of connection in there. And I guess the vain part of me, and maybe it's coming from a selfish perspective, I'm not quite sure, but I want to share those thoughts and those feelings with you. I want to be able to have a positive impact on people's lives that I've never met, and maybe we'll never meet, and know that potentially through me sharing my honest experience of going through life and figuring out how to make games and becoming more vulnerable with myself, that I can have a net positive impact on the world. Above and beyond all of those emotions, I also find making YouTube videos, especially the types I've been making in the last couple months here, to be very cathartic. I'm having to dig down, because I'm not playing a character here. This isn't Aarimous. This is Andy talking to you. This is me talking to you right now. I have to think about the emotions I'm feeling. And one of the things I've struggled with in my life is I haven't validated all of my emotions. Sometimes I'll push them down in a way, bottle them up, and put them on the shelf only to never be seen again. And that hasn't led to a lot of success. I'm trying to validate my emotions, even if they are emotions that I might judge as negative or positive. I'm trying to accept them and feel them. And so through trying to create genuine and honest and heartfelt and like real content for you, I'm having to get in touch with those emotions and find a way to convey them to people who don't have the context of my life or who I am. And I think through that process, I develop a better understanding of the emotion. I can feel the emotional part better. By sharing it with you, you might feel some of the same feelings. And so we can have this empathy across the internet of you leaving a comment, sharing your own experiences with it. That stuff matters to me, and it is helpful to feel the same emotions as other people. It's why I think we are social beings. It's why we like community. It's some of the strengths of the internet. And at the end of the day, me putting it out in this format is basically my form of journaling my life. I've tried to do journals. I have a journal right here on my desk that I see all the time. It has some entries in it, but it doesn't have a lot. And so my YouTube channel is functioning as my journal because I'm trying to be open and honest with you. Once I put out a video and feel those emotions, sometimes the emotions are still there, but I've felt them more, and it sometimes allows me to move on with my life. So thank you. If you're thinking of creating a YouTube channel to be a part of your game development journey, go for it. Maybe some of the things I talked about in this video, you'll find that you'll feel them as well. And maybe it'll be something that is also a productive thing in your life. I fundamentally think that making a YouTube video 3 years ago on a drizzly Tuesday where I needed a mental health day from work I don't actually think it was drizzly. I think it was just an overcast day in November. I think that it was something that absolutely changed my life, and it's grown to be something that I look forward to making videos on a weekly basis for you. Go check out my games. Chess Survivors is on sale right now. for a couple bucks. I think it'll go on sale every month or so. There's a big kind of Steam stuff going on right now. Hexagon's out there for you too if you want to go play the demo and support my work. But if not, you watching to the end of this video is insane. Thank you very much. I've been Aarimous. Until next time, Carl and I guess, say goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, Carl. Say goodbye. Come here. Come here. All right. Bye-bye.